probably always like, what will change? Is it good? Is it bad? I can definitely say what will not change is like we will gonna stay focused on building a great community, a great product, and a great team. And the investors know that. That's actually, after all, they know that's important. It's why they invested in NNN, because we have already all of that, and they want to build on top of that. And the money we got now allows us to do exactly that. Meaning like, um, especially like that goes over in the part that will change. What will change, obviously, now we have a lot of more money, so we can now grow our team a bit faster. That will, for example, also speed up then the product development generally, as we have more people to work on it. $1,200 is obviously a lot of money, and so it's a very strong signal to the market. It now gives people much more confidence in NNN generally, and that will help us mainly in two important topics. One is hiring. So it allows us to not just hire more people, it also increases the whole pool we can hire from, because people are a little bit scared um, starting at a seed company when they already have a great job. It's much easier when they know there's $1,200 there and the company is going to stay around for a long time. Um, and also, does the money itself like provide a lot of stability and security for them, which then so grows the pool we can hire from, and it means with a bigger pool you can hire from, you can also hire much better talent, because we can be much more picky. Another thing that's what is important for us is the monetization, which is obviously very important for NNN in the long term, which we do at NNN via NNN Embed and NNN Cloud. This is very similar actually to how it works with the employees. Also, companies, they want to know when they build on top of a product like NNN that the company is going to stay around for a long time. So, and that is exactly now what's possible with the money. They know we can hire a better team. The product is going to evolve much faster, and so on. So generally, it's obviously all super exciting, and yeah, I think it's a great signal for NNN and the whole community in general. As mentioned before, do we grow our team right now substantially? So obviously, if there's anybody right now that knows anybody or is a head of organic growth, or would be great for head of engineering, a technical recruiter or developer, please apply and send them our way. And yeah, obviously, thanks for listening, and thanks a lot for being part of the NNN community. And without all of you, would have obviously have not been possible. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jan. And now we open up the room for some questions. So folks, yeah, like if you have any questions for Jan, please feel free to send them in the chat, and we'll answer them. So while we wait for that, Jan, just curious to know, how has this whole phase been? Like, what's something that like you're exceptionally excited about?
The thing is, like I said, it's such a strong signal. I think before we were like, we had just our seed round, and that people are very simply scared sometimes using such a product of such a young company. And I think like that's very strong validation, opens now so many doors for us. That's super exciting to see, like that what kind of talent we are getting. Also, like on the monetization side, like so many companies have so much more trust in NNN, which is just makes it so much easier now to get people use NNN Embed and NNN Cloud. So I think that's the most exciting thing to now, being able to execute a lot of things that were not possible before, just because we have the strong signal from the market and from our investors. And obviously, it's super exciting to have this new investors on board that have many years of experience from building this great, amazing companies before. I think there's so much we can learn from them, and it's obviously going to help in the long term there.
Cool. So are there any more questions for Jan? So what we'll also do is, if some questions come up later, we can also answer them during the office hours. So while we wait for questions, next speaker is Ricardo. And when Ricardo was young, he wanted to become a sniper. And now what he does is he snipes as repetitive tasks using NA10. So Ricardo, take it away.
Okay, I'm gonna play the sniping thing at the end. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, host disable participant screen sharing.
You should have access now.
Okay, let me see. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna thank you for being here today. I'm gonna be talking about my journey, my NAN journey. I guess I'm gonna start by giving you a little bit of background about me. I'm a software developer from Venezuela. I've been living in the state for 5 years, specifically in Orlando, Florida. During my professional career, I started working. When I began, I started working with PHP. Then I did a little bit of Java, and I've been working with Node.js API for the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years. I'm currently working as a backend developer in NAN. However, I've done, I would say, a bit of everything from the docs to a bit of the core, developing nodes and helping people on the community. Okay, so let's start. Okay, how everything started. I had this habit of checking product home every morning to see what cool products are out there. And I remember on October 8th of 2019, I came across NAN. I thought it was really cool. I download the project real quick, spin it up, and then yeah, something clicked on my mind. I really like it was open source, was extendable, and it was Node.js that, as I mentioned, I had experience with. So to understand exactly why NAMA clicked, I have to explain you what I was working on at the time. I had created this company with a couple of friends called Clip. Clip is you can I would describe it as a barber shop marketplace. So if you needed to get a haircut, you could go to the app, look for barbers around you, look for the work they done, the review that people had given to them, and even pay from the app. You prepay your appointment. And the service provider had another mobile app where they could keep arrange their schedule. So keep this in mind. What I told was the only developer, and my other two friends, one of was doing the sales, and the other one was doing the marketing. So while working on Clip, most of my time I was working on an API. I was the one that you can see right now. Can you see it? The API? Yeah. We have like more than 100 endpoints. So you can imagine that that was taking most of my time. The only developer here. But they did this course, from Udemy, from zero to hero, and then they thought that they were email marketers now, so they wanted to send a lot of emails like every day. And the way they do that is they would tell me to pull the data from the database, and they would give me a template, and then I would literally go to the database boxes, query that data, export the CSV, go to Node.js, import that file, iterate over the file, and then consume the Mandrill API, REST API. In case you don't know what Mandrill is a MailChimp company that is used to send transactional emails. Well, that started okay. I was doing that just a couple of times a day, but then they wanted to do like every day, and I didn't have time to do that. So that's what when I found an AA, I thought, okay, let me try to solve this small issue. Maybe I can save a couple of hours here. So then I came with this brilliant solution, this really complex workflow. I don't think you're gonna find something complex in this. Yeah, believe it or not, this was like the first workflow I wanted to use any that I wanted to use NAM for. So my idea was, okay, I'm gonna use the Postgres node, which was available at the time. I'm gonna do the query there every time I need to query data, which is pretty fast because the data was simple. And then I'm gonna just map that data to the template on Mandrill using expressions. That was fine until reality hit me on the face, and I realized that there was no Mandrill node there. So I tried to use the HTTP node, which was available at the time, but the Mandrill API is pretty tedious. I have to input all the template variables manually. I didn't want to do that. I wanted something that I wanted the node to populate automatically those fields for me. So that's why we got here to my first contribution, which was, of course, the Mandrill node. I did it on October 26th of 2019. If you see here, you will think that, oh, he sent it in October and then got a merge. It went perfect. I thought my node was perfect, but then you can see what happened really here. So this is me. Then Jan realized, sent me this small text, a couple of small things that I have missed. Keep in mind that at this point in time, I think there was no documentation how to develop nodes, or at least not as we have today. So what I did was I just went to the code and started looking at other nodes and start using that as a reference. That didn't go well. I started back and forth with Jan until I kind of figured it out. And then even though at the end he still have to make some changes and then merge. So yeah, I guess I could have stopped here because I didn't need another node at the time, but I enjoyed that process a lot. I mean, when you add the node to the workflow, to the editor UI, and start playing with it, I don't know why I just fell in love with that. And then I just wanted to keep doing that. Then I started to looking at the community and start, you know, creating notes for the community. So I will benefit the community and we'll still, keep having fun. So that takes us to, what is it? Next. Okay, when I was there, yeah, what kept me going to develop, to always keep developing Node, the fun of developing, as I mentioned already, the positive feedback that I was getting from the community. People was always thankful for the nodes that I was creating. And yeah, with every message that I was getting, every time I read that, I would just get, on fire, and I just wanted to keep going, to keep developing more nodes. And lastly, Jam's help. He was always like pretty responsive. Without that, probably I would have stopped and leave the project. At the moment, he was always, we were at that time we were chatting a lot through email and in the community. After doing that for a couple of months, then one day I said to me, okay, let me check how many nodes I have created. So that take us here. I call it my first milestone. I never set that goal. I just started to count, and then I realized that I had done more than 50. So I told that to Jan. He put this in the community, and yeah, I guess, yeah, I never thought I would hit that mark. To be honest, I had no clue that I had gone that far. That was, as you can see there, 3 months and 16 days after the first contribution. At that moment, at this point in time, I was having some talks with Jan about working for NAN. To be honest, I wasn't completely sure if I was going to be able to, because Jan wanted to build he didn't want to build a remote team, and I wasn't able to move to Berlin. But well, we worked it out. And yeah, I can tell you that out of all the jobs that I have, this is the one that I have enjoyed the most. um, yeah, I mean, I get to work with doing what I like, working with amazing team of really smart people. Um, yeah, till this day, everything great so far. In case you're interested in contributing to an NAN, one thing that I guess people is not completely sure about. They also think that they regularly think that they can contribute by developing nodes, but there's way more than that. You can also work on the nodes. You probably soon gonna be able to help us with the translations. I know one of my coworkers, Ben, is working on that. You can create how-to videos. You can share on the phone on the experiences that you're having with NAN. You can, if you know how to do something and someone is asking that on the community, you can help that person in the community, and you can always, let us know what is your feedback about the project. I guess that's it. In case you didn't believe about the sniping thing, this is me training to become the best sniper that I can. um, yeah, thank you. In case you have any questions, let me know. By the way, if you want to find me in the community, this is my username. If you see this picture, that's me.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Ricardo. Folks, if you have any questions for Ricardo, please put them in the chat. We have a small Q&A session coming up soon. And while we wait for that, thanks a lot, Ricardo. You're an inspiration to all of us. And next up is Max, or should I say DJ Max. So before Max was a product designer, he was actually a techno producer. So Max, mic is all yours.
Thanks a lot for that, Tane. And if I may just say, Ricardo, great presentation. We have almost an internal joke in NNN is you can't give Ricardo an idea for a node because he'll just build it during a conversation. This has happened to me a few times to say, in the morning, hey, Ricardo, this could be a cool idea for a node, maybe. Haven't even really thought about it too much. And by end of the day, he might have already submitted the V1. So
to that point, something that I forgot to say, I challenge you to develop just one node. That's not possible. When you develop one, you want to do another one, and then another one. You cannot stop. I challenge you to develop just one.
Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. Get it done.
It's addictive.
Tane, may I share my screen, please? Great, thank you. So what we're going to do today is we have a short little update on what's happening in product here at NAN. And now that the team's growing, this is something that we want to start doing a lot more. We've been in the community forums a lot more, and just want to say off the bat, thank you everyone for your contributions to helping us guide how we build features, how we think about what we're doing next. I have gotten some amazing responses in DMs. I mean, we're talking about Excel documents for user management of how certain users see this feature, really helping us understand exactly what your needs are so we can nail these features from V1. So really appreciate that energy and please do keep it coming. So one thing that we're working on right now, we're essentially in the finishing touches that we're really excited about, is a workflow tagging feature. So right now, if you're a power user of NNN and you have a lot of workflows, there is really no way to categorize those workflows. So this feature started off as a workflow organization feature. And after talking with a lot of our community members, really the conversation became, do we roll out with folders or do we roll out with tagging? And we had an overwhelming response that tagging is the preferred choice because it allows to do a lot more sort of sophisticated filtering and organizing of your workflow. So we listened to that, and currently we're polishing up the feature. Here's just a little sneak peek of what that's going to look like. But in a nutshell, you're going to be able to create tags, assign them to workflows, and then when you're looking at your list of workflows, you're going to be able to filter down by that. This is just the V1 of the feature. We're definitely channeling sort of minimum viable products so we can be getting features out sooner to you and iterating on them. How we see this feature evolving is when we start thinking about things like dashboards and whatnot. By having a tagging system, there's an information architecture that you'll be able to tap into when you want to generate certain views. So, in future, you might want to populate a view of all workflows that error that had this specific sort of tag. With this in place, we're going to be able to do a lot of those sorts of things. So this is an important foundation for a lot of, I think, very cool things in future, which should also really help organize your workflows if you're sort of getting beyond having just a few. So we're working on getting that ready, and then we'll be testing it and releasing that hopefully very soon to all of you. Like anything with any of these features, once they're out, please do reach out to us in the community forums. I'm on there almost every day, reading comments and posts to understand, whatever we do put out, how are we iterating on that? How are we learning from you? And how are we making these better week on week? So the next thing that we'll be putting out is a refactor to our nodes panel. So this all started with the realization that something we do every week is put out nodes. This isn't a maybe, this is sort of one of our core things that we expect to do. So this time next year, we hope we have many more nodes. We hope Ricardo's speech is inspiring all of you to go build out extra nodes, and Ricardo as well. So we're going to have a lot of nodes to deal with. Discoverability is going to then become more of a problem as we have more nodes. So one of the big things that we wanted to add in here is node categories. If you're looking at the repo itself, you'll notice nodes now have a JSON file. We're calling this the node codex. This has a bunch of metadata that we can now tap into the nodes panel. So we'll be rolling out with node categories. The search functionality is also going to be improved. We're going to be able to now search descriptions of nodes as well as alias terms.
Okay, sorry, seems we have an issue with the audio with Max. Okay, I'm gonna wait for Max to hit in. So while Max joins back, maybe we could take any questions that we might have for Ricardo or Max till up to this point. So I see a couple of things coming in. So Jan, maybe you could answer this. So one of the questions is, this tag feature development is being done in some open public branch in GitHub?
Currently, this is, I'm not sure if it's already available. I think there should already be a work in progress PR, so it should be able to see it and check it out. But I'm not sure if it's the latest stage already. But you should, normally all the stuff should be always in a branch on GitHub, so you should be able to see it. And to 99.9% sure it's there.
Cool. We can maybe drop it in Discord, in the Discord server later on.
Yeah. I also look in parallel and post it into the chat window.
Oh, perfect. Cool. So while we wait, I'm not sure if Max is restarting his computer. So I also see a message from McNaveen who says dark mode, please. Okay, so next of our speakers is Mikhail. I see Mikhail is already here. And you probably know him as one of the most active community members in N8N. And he has been programming since 1984, which is when he was 9 years old, with a Sinclair Spectrum 16K. Stage is all yours, Miguel.
Hello. Hi, people. Well, do you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, perfect. So sorry about the delay. I have several problems here with my computer. And well, finally, I take my partner's computer and I decide to do the meeting here. I'm not really comfortable with Apple. Okay, I hate Apple, so I will try to go ahead with this computer. Well, but okay, I will try to do it with this meeting. Okay, and well, let me try to explain what I've been doing. Okay, as Tene said, well, I love N8N. Okay, because it makes my life very easy when I try to integrate any kind of service or do any stuff in the systems, okay, in our servers, okay. Well, in this case, as you know, well, I developed a node also with the help of Ricardo that integrates uprock, that is my side hustle project at the beginning, and now it's my main business. Okay, so what I will do today is share a different way to scrape data from internet. Okay, as you know, well, if some of you have usually tried to scrape data, there are several solutions out there. Okay, you can try to do manually. It's an option. Okay, perfect. Or you can try to use other kind of software like scrapping. I don't know if you know that solution, but it's a very common solution for scrapping purposes. Okay, but in this case, well, I decided to try if it was possible with N8N because it has a lot of features that enables to do it, like HTTP request node, reading files, writing files, and things like that. Okay, so I think I decided to prove myself if it was possible or not. Obviously, we are always talking about small amounts of data. Okay, not huge amount of addresses because N8N it's not done for that. Okay. But if we try to do for a small number of pages, it's perfectly suitable to achieve what you want to do to scrape data from several pages. Okay, so I will share my screen. This one. Okay. Let me know if you see the screen.
We can.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. So let's start. As you see, it's scraping like a boss. Okay. So the purpose of this is try to scrape a directory, okay, a web page directory with lots of links there. Instead of doing, okay, I go ahead with first page, next page, and so on. In this case, we will try to do in an automated way with an array, okay? So obviously, what I've done, I created a low-code workflow to replace the scraping, okay? And scrape static websites with pagination, okay? Instead of paginate every page and go and there, I did this with an ident, okay? So, well, obviously, some of you know me. I'm your product founder. Well, IT data and open source freak, okay? As well as any community supporter and co-creator of eProc. And obviously, this is more personal than love lover, okay? What I usually do at eProc, well, we usually create tools, okay, related with data, simplifying access to data, okay? Instead of trying to find by yourself the data present on internet, we try to locate that data useful for people and then try to convert to try to prepare the data to be presented to the end users, okay, and exploit that data instead of doing by yourself the scrappy stuff, or all the other recurring tasks we do by ourselves and then expose the data for the end users, okay? And we collect several types of data, okay? We can work with persons, companies, or products, or other things like financial data and things like that, okay? And we believe that internet is a big data source, okay? And that's our main purpose of your product, okay? Believe in internet as a data source, okay? Okay. But what you can get on internet, you usually get multiple data sources publicly available, okay? But they are not regularly updated. This means that sometimes contains past data, sometimes contains unreliable data. It depends, okay? But well, and obviously they are in multiple formats, okay? You can find them in CSV, in HTML, in RSS, it depends, okay? Okay, what we usually try is, okay, locate the right data source and try to transform it, okay? Well, in this case, what we have done is try to use an array to extract the required data to create two tools, okay? One of them is getting financial data by Swift code. As you know, Swift code is, well, it's a financial identifier that allows to detect which bank is behind that Swift code. Swift code is similar to IBAN, but for banking, okay? And well, in this case, IBAN code, it's like, well, IBAN number is like your account number, okay? But in international format, okay? And Swift code is what identifies the bank behind your IBAN account, okay? So in this case, we create two tools, one for getting financial data by Swift code. So this means getting bank information about which branch is behind there, which bank name has, and other fields like zip codes and things like that, okay? And another thing that we can get is, okay, when we try to locate or to look up an IBAN account number, what we get with this IBAN number is the Swift code, okay? So this is useful to relate both tools with just one data source, okay? So in this case, well, this is more oriented to data, okay? I understand that perhaps some of you don't have the knowledge about what means working with some kind of data, okay? But in this case, well, I will try to be plain, explaining in a clear way, okay? But basically, our main points or our main pain points are related with databases, because databases are really outdated fastly, okay? This means that, okay, you can create your own database, and perhaps if the data is updated regularly and you don't update your database, you will be outdated fastly, okay? This means that you won't you won't return the right data at the right time, okay? So in this case, what we try to do is do that integration for scraping stuff. And this means, okay, time, coding, and things like that in a classic way, okay? If we use, for instance, Scrappy, that it's a software that allows to do that kind of tasks, this means that you have to define what HTML selectors or CSS selectors you have to apply to extract data from several HTML pages, okay? So this means that obviously multiple data sources are hard to be maintained, okay? Because we work with a lot of data sources, and sometimes we want to reuse the code for future extractions, okay? And there are several kind of web pages, okay? And one of the most common web pages that you can find is a multiple page or a list of pages that contain more pages. And usually you want to navigate all the pages, okay? So this is what we have fixed with this of workflow, okay? Obviously, how did we fix it? First, we define that the most important thing is find a good data source. With this I mean find a updated data source and reliable data source, okay? What we have done is use this website, okay, that you can access there if you want, the Swift codes that has the same, well, it has a common format, okay? With common format, I mean, look here, you see a list of countries, okay? Lots of countries. And if you want to scrape all of those countries, you will have to go inside every country, clicking in every country, and then you will get a page like this, okay? This is a list of Swift codes available in Albania, okay? But obviously, well, in this case, there is only one page. This is not a problem, but if you go to another page to another country with a lot of Swift codes, you will find a pagination here, okay? So the goal is paginate through these pages and extract all the data available here, okay? So obviously, first, data source is the most important. Second, we try to use a way to, instead of coding, instead of using any Scrappy solution, we decide or we try to use a workflow builder like an RNN to boost that extraction. Instead of doing manually by code, doing visually, okay? And obviously try to reduce coding, okay? Like if we use Scrappy, we will require you doing some coding there, okay? But in this case, using RNN, this is not really the most important thing you will have to do, okay? You will be able to create a complex workflow in a visual way and just doing a bit of coding to accomplish what you want to do, okay? Okay. Obviously, as I said, you have to start with a list of countries. And what we have done there, okay, there are several ways to scrape. Well, people that usually scrape data on the internet, they need first, if they use a solution like Scrappy usually, okay, start with a directory or the web page you are interested on. And after that, the Scrappy program itself, what it does is try to cache all the visited pages to avoid visiting in the future, okay? So what I have done is try to follow the same rule, but instead of using Scrappy, using RNN, okay? And obviously the second step, this is important if you want to do a lot of requests, IP rotation. IP rotation is very important because it allows to avoid blocking your IP address, okay? So for this IP rotation, I recommend one solution that is scrapoxy.io, okay? That allows to rotate all the IP addresses, okay? Okay, So I have published the workflow, the scrapping solution in N8N. Okay, you can access there if you want, and you can copy to your N8N instance and test it. I hope it will work. Okay, but okay, what I have done, I will share the workflow to understand better what I do. Okay, but basically, I will try to zoom in. Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, basically, what I'm doing here is try to, okay, first, obviously the first step is try to get the list of countries. And after that, I have to prepare the countries. With prepare the countries, I mean, okay, every country has a link, okay? And then what I do is taking those links and using later inside the splitting pages loop to request every page later, one page per country later, okay? So in this case, well, let me check. I will try to execute this, okay? Okay, let me check this. Okay. Okay, well, I will stop here, okay, because it's enough to understand what it happens. We will see some output from the different nodes. Look at this, okay. What I have done basically is, okay, I get the HTML code from the first page, from this page, okay. And obviously using an HTML extract, what I've done is getting all the countries there. This is not only the country name, it's also the link of the country page, okay? What I've done later, obviously, is split all the countries in a splitting pages node. And well, after that, I use uprock because I need to translate, well, the country name to an ISO code that is required for us to identify with a short code, the country name, okay? Well, in this case, I just see Albania is identified as AL, okay? But it's only for internal purposes, okay? Obviously, what I try to do later, okay? I have the Albania page. And well, this here you can find some magic. You will be able to check it later if you want. But some people ask me how do you do the pagination between several pages? What I use is a method there that it's get workflow static data. Okay, I work with global variables. This way, I'm able to save. Suppose that I'm paginating. I'm paginating. Let me check this. Okay, and here, okay, I'm at the first page, and then I click to the second page. But I want to know which was well, here I want to know which is the next page. So then I have to save the next page and then update the static variable to know which is the next page to be visited, okay? Okay, so in this case, what I do is, okay, the first time, I start with the country, if no page is defined, but if there is a page defined, this means that there is a second page to be visited, okay? Okay. Well, I prepare several things, okay? And one of the things I mentioned before is that when you try to scrap with something, the goal is try to do the less requests required to the server, okay? To avoid flooding the server. This is important. You have to be polite when trying to scrap something, okay? So, and additionally, you can apply some timeout or some waiting note to avoid doing a lot of requests at the same time against the server, to avoid flooding also, okay? So in this case, what I've done is, okay, using the capabilities of reading and writing files in the N8N instance and getting every time or checking if there is a file locally, okay, with the name of the web page I want to visit, okay? Well, tweak it, okay, remove with some special characters and things like that, okay. But what I'm trying to do here is, okay, there is basically what I'm doing here is I try to ask myself or ask in the workflow if there is a previous saved cache of that URL, okay. If there is no previous cache, I will request the URL and then save to this path, okay. Okay, so later what I do is, okay, try to read the file, okay, and then extract data from here. As you see, well, this is the first page, okay, and I get a lot of bank names, a lot of sweet codes, a lot of cities, branches, well, all the data present there, okay. And obviously, what I do later, I prepare the documents. What I do here is, okay, I use several data from several previous nodes, and then prepare the output data to be inserted in the Mongo, okay? Okay, so this means that at the end, several documents are created in this collection, okay? And what else? Well, this is the second part of the magic. Basically, what I do here is recover the global variable and detect if there are more pages. More pages is a variable detected in, well, extracted in HTML extract, okay? In this one, okay, I think. No, here, yes, next button, look at this. There is a next button variable that will be empty if no more pages are available, okay? So at the end, well, as you see, well, there are a lot of ranges, a lot of entries that, and all of them will be inserted inside Mongo. Okay, that's the main. Well, that's the workflow and how it works, and it has no more secret. Okay, I recommend you to check the workflow. It's published in the directory of N8N. Okay, just import and try by yourself. Okay, last slides for me. Okay, basically what you can do in the future to optimize it, okay? Because as you said, as you saw, well, if I have a lot of pages, probably this will be really slow, okay? Because N8N, well, you can do it in a, okay, you can launch all the queries against the server, but this is not polite. So we're trying to avoid doing that kind of request. Okay, we are using multiple IPs, okay? When I have launched this, well, this is a Scrapboxy panel, okay? And when I have done the request, well, look here, you see several requests done through the proxy, okay, to the internet. So instead of doing from the N8N IP address, it's all the requests are done through all the IP addresses of those instances present at Amazon, okay? So this is a way to go. So we more focused on optimizations about the workflow. I recommend using multiple environments. It's not the same working in a development environment that you can save all the workflow execution, okay? That in a production environment that probably you don't want to save the workflow story or all the workflow story, because this spends or uses a lot of disk access or database access, okay? Instead of that, forget to save workflow story in production environments. That's the second option, okay? Obviously, using terminal would be faster, probably, okay? I haven't tested, but probably it will be faster. And perhaps using some scaling could be nice. I didn't test it, but perhaps it could be useful too, okay? Okay, final. Well, basically, I always try to use N8N in several situations. So you have to be open-minded. So if you have any problem or you want to fix anything you worry about, I recommend using or try to use your imagination, no? To how do you want to fix that, and then try to use an AN to accomplish it, okay? Because usually you can do anything you want there, but you have to test it first, okay? I recommend absolutely use internet as data source. Okay, it depends on the data source, obviously, but if you use the internet as data source, you will get lots of data there. You will find lots of data there, and it depends on what are you looking for. Obviously, some data is public, other not, but it depends. Okay, and obviously using no-code solutions, low-code solutions makes everything easier. So instead of coding everything, you don't have to code anything. You only have to code the minimum required code. Okay, and that's why I love NAN, because I avoid to code a lot. I only code what I need. Okay, in this case, I only coded the part of pagination. That's all. Okay. Obviously, if you do scraping, yes.
Sorry, we gotta jump. Just 1 minute notice. We gotta jump to the next.
Okay. Sorry.
Low on time. Oh, good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if you want to test your product, you have a code there. First, obviously, thank you to the NAN team. Okay, it was much last slide. Sorry, Tanay, and all the people doing this. Okay, so you can check the code there. Well, thank you for the time, and sorry about my time. Okay.
All good. Thank you so much, Miguel. This is really great. And would we be able to access the presentation as well? Would you mind?
Yes, sure. You can share it if you want. I have shared you in LinkedIn, I think.
Oh, perfect. Then I will share that in our Discord server as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Miguel.
Okay.
Awesome. Miguel, real quick, I just have to say, in terms of complexity, the workflow that you share is head-to-head with my first workflow.
With your first workflow?
Yeah, with the one that I did.
Try it. You will love it, I think.
Cool.
But if you like to scrape data, it's perfect, because well, you can apply that to other similar pages. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miguel. All right, and then next we have Brian, and something about Brian that you might not know is that he worked in the Hansa recording studio in Berlin for a month, where he edited folk music. And it seems like we have a lot of musical speakers in the meetup today. So thank you so much for joining in, Brian. Ready when you are. Okay, Brian, I think I have to unmute you.
Yes, there we go. Thanks a lot, Tene. Yeah, so thanks for having me, and also congratulations to the NAN team on Series 8, though. So you should all be super proud. Yeah, so let me share my screen. I think I need some permissions for that as well.
There you go.
Great. Cool. So yeah, so I don't have to have too many slides. So for those of you who aren't familiar with QuestDB, just to give you a quick intro. So we had a great session already with Tane and Arshil where we had a deep dive, but just in case you're not familiar, QuestDB is an open source time series database. And it's built specifically for dealing with time series data. And if you're not familiar with what time series data is, then this is basically just data that you're tracking how it changes over time. So it's probably more common than you would think if you're not really familiar with the term, or why you would need a specialized database that does this. But you can think of, for example, like in stock tickers or financial data, this is where they grew in popularity most, because people are trying to track how stock changes over time. But existing databases aren't really optimized for such use cases. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from doing this, but the longer that you're using systems like this, the quicker you'll run into performance issues. If you're querying huge data sets, then you're going to run into some trouble. So that's basically where time series databases come from. And it's not really specific to time series to financial data. So time series data is everywhere, basically. So if you think of application data or IoT data, internet data, communication, I mean, there's basically an explosion of the types of data that we're interested in collecting. And yeah, the time series data is basically everywhere. So that's why we have specialized tools that are really performant at both storing this and also querying it. Yeah, so actually, instead of going through some slides, maybe what I decided we do is we get hands-on with it. So this is always the fun part, right? So basically what I thought we would do is start from scratch. So what I decided to do is run n8n in Docker. So I'm going to run all of this stuff on my machine. So hopefully my machine doesn't fall over, but yeah, we're running the n8n Docker image. Here we're running, just starting QuestDB up. And the first thing that we get when we start QuestDB is a web console. Oops, this guy here. So right, we have a SQL editor up on the top, and that's where we can write our queries, SQL queries. On the left, we have Schema Explorer and tables. So there's nothing in here at the moment. And on the bottom, this is where our results would be returned. Let me just enlarge that a bit so you can see. So great. So we have a database running and we have n8n running. So now we need some data. And one tool that I really like using for this quite a lot is Telegraph. And this can be used in a lot of different cases to take metrics from lots of different application sources. But what you can do in this case,
Brian, I think we are seeing only a white screen.
Oh, let me stop the share. How about now?
I still see a screen, but it's I think frozen. It's a blank page.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate. Let me try stop the share for a second.
Sure. Max, while Brian debugs the issue with the screen share, curious to know what you were telling us a bit more about what's new with products. Oh, it works.
That be better?
Let's see. I think I only see a black screen now.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Let me try restart it.
Cool. Max, are you still here? Hey, Max. Okay, seems like we have lost Max.
So that's the usual curse of the demo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not a demo
Is that working?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, that's a shame.
Not enough
Okay.
offering for the demo gods, Chris says. That's true.
No, no, obviously not.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
That's totally fine. Do you want to try logging back in?
Yeah, I'll give that a shot.
Meanwhile,
Thank you.
invite Harshil in. Yeah, Jonathan says maybe just kill Zoom. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So Harshil is also one of our speakers. Unfortunately, Ben couldn't make it today. He although has promised us that he'll jump on a live stream soon with us one of these days to share his story. And filling in for him is Harshil. And Harshil mentioned that he used to be good singer at school times. So hopefully we get to listen to some melodies soon. And Harshil, please take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanel. Let me start with sharing my screen. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I used to be good at singing, but I'm not. But I like music, and I did some experiment with it, and I built a workflow, a tool that I use to control my Spotify player. And so my talk is titled "Let N10 Play the Music." I'm just gonna do a quick introduction because most of you all know me. My name is Herschel. I love to experiment with tech. I started doing live streams on Twitch, and I also have created my own YouTube channel. So please do follow me over there. Now, talking about this talk, I am going to show a command line tool that I built to control my Spotify player. Being a developer, a command line, and a command line nerd, I enjoy controlling my apps via the terminal. So let me quickly show you how it is. So this is my terminal on the left and my Spotify music player. I'm just gonna play some music for now and hope that you all can hear that. Okay, so this is running and I am assuming, like, I see Ricardo is nodding, so I am assuming that you all can hear the music. I am gonna run this command right now. That is Spotify pause, and this would pause my player, and over here, voila. So I built this whole thing using a few tools, and I use N10 to connect it. But let's now change the song and then play the music. So Spotify next. Okay. Interesting. Let's try it again. So now we have another song. We got the name as well as the name of the artist as well. So I'm gonna pause the song now. Spotify pause. All right, and now let me come back to my slides. So the workflow is very complex. Let me tell you beforehand. Well, no, I was just kidding. It's a simple workflow. You can see over here, it's hardly, I don't know, 7 to 8 nodes, not more than that. But let's look what tools I use to do this. So I am a JavaScript developer, so I decided to, create an npm package that I can use to control my Spotify player. Now there was this option of how do I connect my Spotify player with my npm package. Now I'll be honest with you all, I try to avoid writing a lot of code whenever I have the option and just go the no code, low code path. And that's where N10 comes into the picture. So using N10, I connect my command line tool with my Spotify player. And the last thing you need is, of course, a Spotify account. Now, I'm going to explain you the whole process of what goes on behind the scenes. So I run the command. It makes a request to N10. N10 intercepts the request. It tells Spotify to play the song, pause the song, or whatever command I ran. Then the Spotify player performs that particular action. Again, N10 then creates that response that we saw. So we got the name of the song as well as the name of the artist, and then we display the message. So what happens over here? We run the command. The orange boxes over here shows N10. So N10 intercepts the request, tells Spotify what to do. Spotify player does that action, and then N10 sends back some information to a terminal, and then the terminal displays the information. So talking about the features that this particular command line tool has, it has this very nice help command, which can give you the list of all the commands that I have for now integrated. So you can see there is the option to play a song, pause the song, change the song, maybe go to the next song in the queue or go to the previous song. And then if you do Spotify cur, it gives you the information of the current song. So all this information again is just a webhook recall to N10. N10 does the process over there, and then it displays it out on the terminal. Let me again share the workflow over here. So the if node over here, it just checks if the command is start music. So if the command is start music, we go to the true branch. We get the current ID of the song, and then we just tell Spotify to play that song. And in the set node, I am just getting the name of the song as well as the artist. And if the command is anything other than the start music, I dynamically pass this operation in NA10. So whatever the command is, it will dynamically be fetched and the operation is been recognized over here. And then I get the ID, perform the operation, and then it's just a set step over here. Again, this set node is similar to the previous one. Just get the song and the artist name. So yeah, that's it. So there are a few features that I want to work on for this. A few of them is to just play the song from the given name. So let's just say I want to hear a song by Ed Sheeran, and the song might be Photograph. So I say Spotify play Photograph, and then it goes to NA10, finds that song, and plays it in my Spotify player. So that's one of the features that I want to add. The another is to get the list of all my playlist, the ability to select the specific playlist, and then play the songs from that playlist. So these are the two features that I still want to add. But if you have any other features and if you would like to try it out, you can always check it out on GitHub. I'll be sharing the link in the chat soon. So here's the GitHub. It's open source. You can try it out. I have listed all the instructions as well on how you can install it. And if you just want the workflow, you can get the workflow as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Harsha. This is amazing. And I must say, I've never tried out dynamically passing an operation before, so that was quite great to see. Cool. So next up, we have Brian. Brian, are you here? Okay, I see Brian.
Yes, I'm here. Thanks, Danny. Let me give it another shot. I think you need to enable screen sharing.
Yes. There you go.
Great. Okay. So how does that look?
Perfect. We see your screen.
Okay. So this time, so I killed all of my Docker stuff just in case that was the culprit. But if you want to try it out, that's how to get it up and running. It's just 2 commands to get N8N and then QuestDB also running. So it depends how you're sending data into QuestDB. So there's port 9000, that's for the web console. 8812 is for Postgres, which is what the QuestDB node in N8N is using. And then 9009, that's for influx line protocol, which is something specialized for very high throughput. What I can do is show you the workflow. So obviously, because I killed all of my Docker stuff, this isn't working right now, but I can at least talk you through what it's doing. So it's not quite as epic as Miguel's epic workflow, but this basically what we're using here on the top is the N8N node, and this is using Postgres, and right there we can write some SQL to directly query the database. So in this case, the Telegraph agent, what that does is, let me just enlarge this so you can read the text a bit better. So the Telegraph agent that collects system metrics. So typically what that's used for is maybe you have 100 machines or maybe 1,000 machines, and you have this client that sits there and sends it towards some database, some server. And you can, I like using this one a lot for demos because it picks your system, your local host's system info, and you can send that directly to QuestDB. It's very, very quick to set it up and get some dynamic real data rather than trying to mock some stuff here. So if you start the Telegraph agent, it'll create a table called CPU. And here you can just get the most recent 10 records here. So that's, I mean, one of the benefits of being able to use QuestDB in here is that you have SQL, so you don't need to learn any kind of query language that takes a long time. That's maybe a little bit esoteric. So SQL has been around for about 50 years. It's pretty much every question that you have is going to be answered on Stack Overflow if you're not sure about how to do something. So there's a ton of really good resources, and this is why it's a great language to use for asking questions about what your data looks like. Yeah. So then on the left, we had a cron job. So this one was scheduling the whole workflow according to, this one was using every minute, but it might be useful to do this every hour. And what this is doing is checking our table for CPU metrics. Then we're making a CSV file from that and uploading this to S3. So that way you could use this for maybe backups if you want to have S3 as a place to store hourly reports. Or what I think would be probably most interesting, I mean, if you're collecting information is not really the hard part, right? So if you're collecting information from 100 different sources, or maybe if you're collecting info about, maybe it's financial data, ticker data, getting the info is the easy part, but trying to make sense of it is the tricky part, right? And that's where you're actually trying to get rid of the noise and actually make some useful insights from it. So I thought this one was interesting, where here you're able to use the REST endpoint to also send SQL. And here we're selecting, we're grouping machines by where the system CPU usage is over a certain amount. So this would be in cases where, let's say you want to find outliers, or what's my top 3 maybe misbehaving devices, or something that's using a lot more system resources than it's supposed to be doing. So quite often you have in IoT situations, you have you want to have your top 5 devices that are maybe using the most amount of data, or the top 3 devices that are active, or ones that you haven't heard from in a while. So being able to write queries like this to generate a report of the top 5 troublesome devices, or ones that you need to take a look at, I think this is quite useful. So yeah, this example uses per minute, but maybe you want to have an hourly report or a daily report. Yeah, and like I said here, this query is fairly simple for making a top 3 devices by system CPU usage. So I think that would be something good for an IT use case. And yeah, I think there's plenty of ways that in between this query where you're fetching all of the data, to also maybe use some other nodes for enrichment purposes as well. So let's say you have a lot of raw information going into a database, and somewhere else you have maybe a spreadsheet or a table with data that you want to associate with that. So this could be something like addresses or geolocation that you don't want the devices doing, but you want to maybe change it, maybe use this as like a enrichment before saving it to S3. So yeah, this was the workflow. So of course, like Miguel, I can share this one or drop a link to it in the Discord chat. Or if there's someone who has any questions about how this is working, then please ask away. Yeah, so why should you use it in your workflows? I mean, if you're analyzing financial data, if you're working with IoT data, this totally makes sense because it's the right tool for the job. It's a high performance database, and that's something that probably a lot of you can find out for yourselves. We have a demo that's publicly available. There we have 1.6 billion row data sets that you can query in a couple of milliseconds. So really, when I say it's high performance, it's super fast. So I think for data enrichment, this would be a really good use case in some end-to-end workflows. If you want to write in SQL, this totally makes sense. If you really need high throughput, so if you're sending from hundreds of different clients into one table, that's what you want to use. And then of course, you have the option to use Postgres. That's what the native N8N node uses, but you can also use REST like this workflow does. Yeah, and try out the demo. So you can go to demo.questdb.io. And up here at the top, we have this example queries selector. So here you can try out a lot of interesting ones. So this seasonality of weather is a good one. So this weather data set is 8 years of weather data. And yeah, we're querying 1.6 billion rows in 1 millisecond, and this is with aggregates on top of it. So there's quite a lot of fun stuff to play around with there. So I recommend you check that out. So yeah, that's it for me.
Cool. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thanks,
This was great to see. And we are nearing towards the end of our time. So before we start the office hours section of the meetup, which would be Q&A, we will answer questions. And before then, I would like to extend a big thanks to our speakers for their lovely sessions and braving through all the technical issues that we faced today. And thank you to all of you for also taking out the time to attend this month's meetup. But it doesn't really have to end here. Let's continue the discussion on our Discord server. And in case you aren't really a member yet of the server, here's a link that I dropped in the chat so that you can join in. And we are also holding our first ever icebreaker on May 21 at 5 p.m. CEST, where you can meet other members of the NA10 community during multiple 5-minute one-on-one chats, discover what they're working on, and learn about best practices for them. So if you haven't already signed up, I'm going to drop a link to that as well in the chat as well. And yeah, in case you are heading out, I wish you a great weekend. And for those of you who are staying in, please send in your questions. And while you're sending in your questions, Max, would you like to jump back in and maybe share some of the things that you were showing us before?
Sure thing. Let's try this out now, round 2.
Awesome.
Okay, so where we left off, just to recap, what we're working on right now is we're shoring up workflow tagging and releasing that, and that should help really anyone who has more than a few workflows. What's up next is the nodes panel. So as we're saying, we want to be creating lots of nodes, and so the problem for discoverability for nodes is going to increase over time. So we're adding node categories, and we're going to vastly improve the searchability of nodes. For each node, you'll be able to search the description and alias terms. So right now, if someone types in JavaScript, they're not going to see the function node. So with the aliases, it's going to allow us over time to add all these other terms that might be helpful for you finding a node. At the same time, since we're doing this refactor, there's a few UX improvements, and also for new users, when you don't have a node, we're going to have various hints on what you might be able to do. So the HTTP request node, a webhook, or request a new node from within there. Beyond that, we've had some new team members join the team, and most recently, David has joined as a new head of product, which means we really have doubled the bandwidth that we have on our product and design team. And so we're starting to have a lot more concrete conversations about a roadmap internally. We're still sort of codifying that out. There's definitely requests from the community about having a public roadmap, and we hear you there. But what we can share right now is some roadmap themes that we're focusing on the next couple months. So one of the big things is getting N8N to version 1.0. So big push there is going to be in ensuring that we have a nice stable 1.0 for mission critical production workflows. And part of that as well is, we're very conscious whenever we make a breaking change on N8N, because your workflows are important and they're solving real problems. But so as we prep for 1.0, there's a few band-aids that we'll likely be working on ripping off. And a lot of that's going to come with consistency in the node experience. So certain nodes have different rules when it comes to using them. And that disparity between nodes, as we grow, basically puts a lot of load on users to have to figure that out and track that. So we're going to be working on sort of standardizing node experiences. And with experiences, we mean, the input and output and the expected result there. So that should help, because when we codify that, that's something that we can also share with our community for your custom nodes and whatnot. So there's going to be a lot more best practices coming from that. Another big feature that we're working on right now and sort of research, and I've been talking with a lot of community members, so thank you very much, is user management. Our plan at this time is we're planning out a rather in-depth roadmap so that it can meet the needs of big teams and lots of other things, and have that roadmap set so we know where we're going. but then iteratively roll out phases. So the first user management that come out will be rather simple, really speaking to the need of, I would like to separate users so they can have separate workflows and credentials and be able to share them. And then from there, we'll start looking at adding things like groups and workspaces and all these sorts of typical things that you might see in user management functionality to enable larger and larger teams to work together or to be able to silo various projects. On that note, in the community forums, if you type user management and hit enter, there is a user management and privileges thread where people are actively giving their sort of requirements and their needs. We're checking that all the time, so please do contribute to that, because while we're still in research, a lot of the things that we're going to commit to in the V1 will be sort of the foundation, getting that out there. And so all that insight will still be very helpful as we plan that roadmap for the rest of the feature. Another big push for us is making N8N more intuitive. I think this is obviously something that will happen over time and we'll continually be doing, but we've identified there's a few patterns and whatnot where we do see there's various fixes to improve the N8N experience, not just for new users. There's definitely a focus on that so we can get more folks using N8N, but also focusing on power users. If you've ever, you use an app very deeply, the smallest change can really affect that experience there. So now that we have this more bandwidth on product, we're starting to meet with a lot more users, understand how you're using it, and start optimizing for that. So to recap, in the short term, workflow tagging is coming out real soon. Next up will be the nodes panel refactor. And then, while those things are happening, as always, with weekly releases, there's lots of small improvements and nodes coming out. But once workflow tagging and the notes panel is out, the really big thing we'll be tackling is user management. The last thing I wanted to say is thank you so much for all the feedback and advice from users and pain points that we're getting on the community forum. As I said, I'm trying to be in there every single day. And I just like to have a big thank you to everyone that already has given me a lot of insight. When I message some users, I'm expecting maybe a few sentences back, and I'm getting Excel documents and charts and all manner of very helpful resources that definitely take time to make. So we really appreciate it. I read every single one. Sometimes we're even overwhelmed by the response if you don't get a reply back in the typical N8N fashion of a few hours. It's because we're spending time on each reply and getting back to you, but we will. So if you have feature requests or there's features that we've discussed that you think you have some specific requirements that you'd like to be considered, please do pop into the community forums. And in the features requests section is where you can find all the various things that people are requesting or that we're proposing to make. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. So that's sort of an update that we're doing from product here. Over the next months, I think something we're going to be trying to do is iterate on this format and figure out what are some good vehicles for making sure the community is in the loop on what we're doing here at product, because the relationship between product design and the community is going to be very important, so we build the right features for you. So just watch this space, but it's very important to me personally as well that you feel like you have a voice in the community and that you can see your input translate to a nice usable feature that gets put out. So thanks again everyone for all your support so far and all your insights.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Max. Folks, if you have any questions for Max, please feel free to drop it in the chat. So I see a few questions already that were unanswered. So for Max, I see one already. Will the user management feature be available only for cloud?
No, absolutely not. And I would say as a general rule, none of these core features that we're talking about that are important will ever go out just for cloud. That's sort of an important tenet from day one within N8N Cloud, is that we don't want to create this premium N8N that's just pay to play there. We want to ship the feature for core and then put it on cloud. So I would say on average, there'll probably even be a slight delay to getting the feature on cloud because we're releasing it on core, getting the feedback from our self-hosted community, and really improving that feature, hardening it, and then rolling it out. So absolutely, user management functionality will be available to self-hosters probably even a bit sooner than for cloud because we have an infrastructure that we have to add that to.
Perfect. Thank you, Max. Then I see a question for Harshil. Harshil, how exactly are you getting response into the CLI for your Spotify tool?
So with the webhook node, there is a parameter that's called response method. So if you click on that, you will see two options that the one is on received and the other one is last node. I'm just taking a look at my workflow once again to make sure. Yeah. So if you select the last node option, you can then select what data you want to send. So you can do first entry JSON, all entries, or the first entry binary. Now, the reason that I have the set node in my workflow is because so what the last node parameter does, it only sends the information that is in the last node. So in my set node, I am getting the song name as well as the name of the artist, right? So now what happens is when I make the call, the process happens, and then the set node gets that information, and then this information is sent back to the request. So now instead of getting the default workflow got started message, we get the name of the song as well as the artist. I hope that answers the question.
Cool. Thanks, Harshil. Then I see a question for Brian. Sorry, for Ricardo. So Ricardo, what is the shortest time you took to build a node? Wait, Ricardo, I'll have to unmute you.
Is it the
There you
question?
go. What is the shortest time you took to build a node?
Hard to say, like an hour,
Cool.
something like that. Yeah.
What factors does it depend on? How long
Oh,
it takes?
depend. Yeah, to be honest, mostly on the most of, like, they would say 90% of the node that we have just consume a REST API. So depending on how good the docs are, that's like a big factor, because I've seen nodes that are very simple. I don't know, 5, 6 parameters, but there is no documentation whatsoever. So that makes it like real difficult to do.
Cool.
So yeah, I would say the docs are the most important thing.
Makes sense. And then I see another question on what knowledge should one have to get started with creating nodes in N8N?
Yeah, I would say if you have some sort of small experience with any programming language, and you know how a REST API works, you should be able to put that off. In case you want some sort of guide there, we have a tutorial on the webpage how to create your first node, and if you follow that up, you're gonna be able to have a sense of what is needed to create a node. If for some reason that doesn't answer your questions, you can always ask us on the community, and we'll be happy to help.
Cool. Brian, I see a question coming in for you. It asks if you can use the Kafka node in N8N to insert data into QuestDB.
Unmute. Oh, there we go.
Yes,
Yeah,
there you
thank
go.
you. Yeah. So we have support for Kafka using the JDBC connector. So yes, I haven't tried out the Kafka N8N node, but yeah, we have some users using Kafka for ingestion into QuestDB already. Yeah.
Cool. And I have tried out the Kafka node, and you can ingest data into QuestDB using that. So that should be possible.
Then I'm definitely going to give it a shot.
Awesome. And I see one other question for Miguel. Let me unmute you, Miguel. So the question is where exactly Scrapboxy comes in. I mean, where to integrate, possible inside HTTP request node or somewhere else. I see Miguel has already replied a bit, but Miguel, do you want to elaborate a bit?
Yes, well, related to Scrapboxy, you have to run by Docker also. So I have provided well, I will share the URL, okay? It's this one. There are several samples there, okay? You can run by yourself, like N8N, it's absolutely the same. So what it does is run this inside your Docker, and you have to set up to line several instances, for instance, in Amazon, but other ICPs are supported, like DigitalOcean or VH and things like that, okay? So what it does is, as I said, it's like a proxy with several machines behind the proxy, and every machine has its own IP address. Okay, so this is perfect for and additionally, it rotates automatically the machines. This means that power on and power off the machines automatically after some time. So all the IPs are rotated automatically. Okay, so this is nice. And related, well, I saw another question more before, okay, related to, well, dynamic pages. Okay, yeah, that's right. If you want to scrape dynamic pages, the workflow I shared doesn't work for that. Okay, it only works for static web pages. So what you need, well, I usually recommend using another Docker image like browserless.io. Okay, it's for this case. Okay, and you will need some behind N8N. Okay, between N8N and the browserless server. Okay, browserless server only understands WS protocol. This is WebSocket. Okay, and you will have to interact with this protocol using a library called Puppeteer. I think it's let me check the exact name. Okay, but you will work with JavaScript to interact with the browserless server. Okay. Okay, I think it's this. Okay, you have the Puppeteer there. Okay, so you will need this an API or a minimal code to interact with Puppeteer from N8N, and you will be able to scrape the dynamic websites this way. Okay, so that's the easy way to do it, or you can find several services that allow you to scrape dynamic web pages. Okay, and that's the easy solution, I think.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Mikhail. That's helpful. All right. Since I see we have no other outstanding questions, thank you all very much for joining in. This was really amazing. And yeah, thanks for bearing with us for during these like technical issues, but it was really lovely to see all of you. And please join in the Discord server if you have any questions. Ask them in the community forum. Would love to hang out more, and hope to see you in the icebreaker soon. So until a few weeks later. All right, folks. Have a nice evening. Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Bye, guys. See you.